All right, the Maamer Yehuda Ata in Malukot from Lamed Ches. So the Rebbe is going to start off with a pasuk from this week's parsha from the brachas that Yaakov gave to his children before Yaakov passed away. He gave each of his children a bracha. So he starts off with in Yehuda's bracha with Yehuda Ata Yoducha Yehuda, your brothers will Yoducha. Yoducha means like thank you, and also means in a submissive way. Thank you in a gracious way that we're stepping back and admitting that everything comes from you. So it's going to mean the best word in English is going to be acknowledge. Your brothers will acknowledge you. So, very nice. Yehuda, your brothers will acknowledge you. It makes sense. All the kings were from Yehuda. You had David HaMelech. You have Shlomo HaMelech. You have all the kings. Melech Mashiach is going to come from Yehuda. So there's a lot of acknowledging Yehuda going on. The Alter Rebbe explains at the beginning of this week's parsha in Torah a deeper meaning. It's one of the more geschmacky things about Chassidus in general, Torah specifically, which is called the Chassidus parsha by many, that it takes what we're learning in the parsha and it looks at it on a bit of a deeper level. Yehuda, what's Yehuda? Who al Shem? Why was he named that? He was named that because what happened when he was born? That he was born and Leah said, "This time I will thank Hashem. This time I'll acknowledge Hashem." Why'd she do that? Well, it's pretty simple. In a simple shot, that there were how many shvatim? There were 12 shvatim, right, guys? And how many wives did Yaakov have? 4. So if he has 12 shvatim, he's going to have 12 kids. And they all knew he was going to have 12 kids. And he has 4 wives. It's only fair that everyone has 3 kids. So Leah gave birth to 3 kids. The 4th one, she was like, oh, bonus kid right here. So she's like, the last 3 I deserve. This one, hapam oides havaya. This time I will thank Hashem. Because this one is straight from Hashem. It's a gift. It's a bonus. It's something I don't deserve. Beautiful. So Yehuda is all about thanking. He's named after being gracious, acknowledging. That's the thankfulness, the graciousness, the acknowledgement. That by all general Jewish neshamas. So all Yidden have this deep inside themselves. Every Yid, deep down, I'll pull up a chair, please. Every Yid has inside themselves, deep down, that they want to thank Hashem. They want to be gracious to Hashem. So some people, you see this more clearly. And some people, you don't see it more clearly. Okay, pull up over here. So some people, you see everything about them. They're like constantly thanking Hashem. You ever meet someone who says Baruch Hashem by everything? I know someone who their family had to change their WhatsApp chat with the words Baruch Hashem in the name, because otherwise every message they sent, they wrote BH on it. Okay, so they wanted to make their life easier, so they just changed the name to Baruch Hashem. Some people are constantly thanking Hashem when whatever happens. So the Rebbe just said in the Maamer that all Yidden are like that. So do we all do that? Are you guys thanking Hashem every moment?
Of course.
Yeah, Menachem, you thank Hashem every moment?
I try.
So some people, it's not so revealed. Some people, you don't see it. Why not? In order for this thanking to be revealed, that only comes about through your brothers. So everyone deep down wants to thank Hashem for everything. But not all of them is it revealed. This wanting to thank Hashem is kind of hidden deep down. The neshama is dying to thank Hashem for everything. It's hidden under a deep pile of pizza and ice cream and a shtickle lashon hara. So how is this going to happen that you're going to actually end up thanking Hashem? So the Rebbe says here, it's through achecha, through your brothers. Who are the brothers of Yehuda? Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Ha'akam shel Yehuda, the brothers of Yehuda, Shnot Lefana, they were born before him. So we have something very interesting here. It looks like the Rebbe is teaching a pasuk a bit differently. Let's look at in a deeper way than we looked at before. Let's continue one more sentence before looking back at our pasuk. That's what it means, that your brothers will acknowledge you. That your brothers, who's Yehuda's brothers? Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Hey, my garment, they cause Mevim, and they bring about this thanking Yehuda of Yehuda, Shativ Eskalos, it should be revealed. So every Yid is like Yehuda deep down. Every Yid wants to constantly thank Hashem deep down. Yehuda is named after thanking. So, Chaim, do you want to thank Hashem?
Yes.
Do you do it every moment?
No.
Sometimes we don't do it because it's kind of hidden deep down. So what happens? We need the brothers. So the Rebbe is looking at the pasuk a bit differently. Let's look back at our pasuk and let's see how the Rebbe is looking at a deeper meaning. Yehuda Ata Yoducha, Yidin, you're going to praise Hashem. How? Through Achecha, through your brothers. So apparently to be like Yehuda, thanking Hashem all the time, first you have to be like Reuven, and be like Shimon, and be like Levi, and then you're really going to bring out your deep down, being like Yehuda of constantly thanking Hashem. You know how to be like Reuven?
No.
We don't know yet. We didn't say it yet. Stay tuned. So what does Alter have explained over there? Reuven and Shimon, who Inyan? They represent the base parshas to Kriya Shema, the two parshas of Kriya Shema. So if you guys ever looked inside the mezuzah or tefillin, when I was turning bar mitzvah, so my father took me to the sefer when my tefillin were being made. So he showed me the parshas. It was very cute. He showed me the parshas, and he showed me what is writing inside the parshas. And you could see there the first parsha of Shema, and then there's Vahoy and Shemaya. Vayomer is like an add-on on Kriya Shema. The main part of Kriya Shema is Shema and Vahoy and Shemaya. Also, you ever looked inside the mezuzah? There was a Yid, Berkechain, who every morning, right after going to the mikveh, he carried a mezuzah in his pocket, and he'd unroll it, and he'd read Kriya Shema of the morning. He'd read it off his mezuzah. So it says the first two parashas of Kriya Shema over there, Shema and Vahoy and Shemaya. So they are represented by Reuven and Shimon. What about Levi? The Levi who in Emes V'Yatziv. Levi is the next part of the davening. Emes V'Yatziv is like Vayomer and Emes and V'Yatziv and Nochlein is a continuation from Kriya Shema, right? Shalachar Kriya Shema. That's after Kriya Shema. By Dezen through this boyim Akakach they come to what do they come to after that? That's the admitting, the acknowledgement, and the bittul, the self-nullification of Yehuda. Think about Shemini Esrei. You say, Baruch Atah Hashem, you're blessing Hashem, you're thanking Hashem, you say, Moedim Anachnu Lach, we admit to you, and we thank you that everything's from you. You're completely putting yourself aside, and you're thanking Hashem for everything. So that's like Yehuda. It's completely setting yourself aside and saying, you know what? I realize that nothing comes from me and everything comes from you, Hashem. So, what do we have here? We explained that every year is like Yehuda, deep down. Every year wants to always thank Hashem. But first we have to be like Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. The thing is, we really didn't explain what it means to be like Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Menachem, you got figured out how to be like Reuven, Shimon, and Levi? Because I didn't. So far, all we said is the parts of davening that represent them. But we didn't explain what we're supposed to feel in those parts of davening to be like them. We didn't explain what we're supposed to think in those parts of davening to be like them. That we're going to have to figure out next. Any questions? Chaim, any questions? Okay, we're going to go on to base. And the explanation is, like it says in Torah over there, that what? Reuven. Why was Reuven? Let's go back to the naming of the Shvatim. That's going to be the hint to what their life mission is about. So let's talk about Reuven. Reuven, who Hashem, why is he called Reuven? Ki Rav going back. Because he saw what happened. That before Reuven was born, Yaakov had 4 wives, and the main ones were Rachel and Leah. Now Leah was very, very upset. You guys remember why Leah was always upset?
Because she was supposed to marry.
Yeah, and then after she got married, she was still upset that what? When she got married, she was very upset that Rachel was the favorite. Yaakov loved Rachel, and Leah was very upset. She didn't want to be second fiddle. So then she had a baby. So now she was very happy. What did she say? Ki ra Hashem ba'ani. She said, Hashem saw me in my strife. Now she's very happy. She's saying, Hashem saw all my hardships of being so sad, and Hashem gave me a baby. So what's Reuven named after? He's named after the word Ra, is the main part of the name Reuven. So he's named after seeing. So Reuven's all about seeing. What's Shimon? Shimon, why is he named Shimon? Hashem Kishomer Gomer. Because the next kid that Leah had, she said, wow, Hashem heard me. Hashem heard my voice. So Shimon's named after what?
Listening.
Very good, listening. Perfect. So what does that mean in Avodas Hashem? What does that mean for us to do? To be like Reuven and to be like Shimon? We figured out part of the mystery that we have to be seeing and listening. But what do we have to see and what do we have to listen? So, being known about Hashem, what's their idea in serving Hashem? That applies to every single Jew. That what? What's Reuven? Who is Shabbat? It's the service of Hashem. He loy b'chinas hasagal levas, not just understanding. Kim b'chinas re'iyah. Rather seeing, very interesting. So some people understand about Hashem. They understand that Hashem's watching them. They understand that they should listen to Hashem. Some people, it's in a deeper way. It's a way of seeing. What does it mean seeing? Do you see Hashem? Hey Menachem, do you see Hashem ever? You wake up in the morning, you just see Hashem? No one sees Hashem. The only people who see Hashem are prophets and very special people.
Everything's a show, please. Yeah.
But seeing means something deeper than that. It means seeing with your mind's eye. Seeing means a clarity in understanding. The Rebbe is going to explain over here what that seeing means. V'hainu, meaning, she'esamtus shaloi belikus, that his samtus, you see the shayrish is emes. His truth in elikus, in godliness, he b'vadois haki gedolim. Such surety, b'dugmas adam shrei ezed davar, like someone who sees something, she'ein shayich, she'eh etzloi shum savik b'zeh. That it's impossible for him to have any question about this. He himself sees the thing. So when you see something, you know they say in English, seeing is believing. When you see something, you're so sure about it. It's so clear about it that there's no way anyone's going to talk you out of it. There's actually a very interesting halacha. I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you see something happen, you're not allowed to be a judge in that case, halachically. So let's say you see someone robbing a bank, then they drag the guy off the beis din, they drag the guy off to court, and you're the judge. Halakhically, you're disqualified as a judge. They're going to have to pull in someone else. Why are you disqualified? Wouldn't you be the best judge if you saw it happen?
To be used as an aide, but not as a judge.
So here's the thing. If you're a judge and you saw something happen, you're not going to listen to the witnesses. You're not going to listen to the lawyers. You're not going to listen to the guys. Because you're so sure about it, no one's talking you out of it. You're so clear. You have it in your mind. You can literally see in your mind what happened.
What's it called? So that's a judge that is biased, and you can't have a judge that is biased towards one side, even if it's true.
Yeah, 100%. Even if it's true, because why? Why can't they talk the judge out of it? Because when you see something, no one can tell you don't believe what your eyes see.
But the judge could just
because it's so clear to you. It's so clear to you. So, let's see. What does that mean by Avodas Hashem? Because like we said before, seeing Hashem means with the mind's eye. What does that mean, seeing? Similarly, just like when someone sees something, it's so clear to them. There's no question about this. Similarly, Avodas Hashem, it's in serving Hashem, that his thought, his meditation about Hashem, but with specifically being Hashgacha Pratis, about Hashgacha Pratis, the fact that Hashem is watching us and causing every little thing at every moment. Even it's a way to staklos of looking. The idea is so true to him. If he sees it with physical sight. So some people think about Hashem and they don't put too much thought into it. And they're like, yeah, Hashem, I love Hashem. Hashem created the world, amazing. Some people think about Hashem a bit more practically in their life. They're like, yeah, Hashgacha Pratis. Hashem's watching everything I do. Hashem's causing everything that happens to me. They don't put so much thought into it. Some people think so deeply and they meditate with so much concentration on the fact that Hashem is watching their every move and causing everything that it's so clear to them that they literally see it in their lives. The fact that they ever put in Hashgacha Pratis here is very interesting because until now we were talking about Emunah, we were talking about belief, talking about faith. Now they're talking about a very practical outcome in your life. There are some people that when they walk down the street, they come home, they're like, you won't believe the Hashgacha Pratis that happened to me, the way I saw that Hashem's controlling the world. I was about to step onto the street and then a car buzzed by and missed me by a second just because I got distracted with something and therefore I didn't step into the street. It's a miracle. Some people have miracles every day. They see Hashem in their lives. Some people don't see that. There's another guy who comes home and he's like, you won't believe what happened today? I was about to step in the street and this car buzzed by and it splashed me and I got all muddy. It's terrible. It's the worst. I'm so upset. Where is Hashem? Why is he not helping me? So you have two people who had exactly the same scenario. They see it very differently because one of them sees Hashem in his life and the other guy doesn't see Hashem in his life. Do you guys know anyone that's like every day has a new Hashgacha Pratis story?
No.
There are some people that every day, every time they come home, they're like, wow, you won't believe the Hashgacha Pratis that happened today. Why is that? Because they're like Reuven. It's called the outlook. When you're going to be like Reuven, which is named after seeing, that you see Hashem in your life all the time. If you think about Hashem, there's so much clarity and realize in a clear way that Hashem is watching you and Hashem's causing everything, then no problems. Absolutely no problems. because everything's coming from Hashem. And every moment you see how everything's coming from Hashem. Menachem, you're probably like that, right? Every day you come home, you're like, you won't believe Ashkoka brought the story that happened today. You're probably like Reuven. Every day you just like, wow, everything's coming from Hashem. So what happens when you're like Reuven? Let's find out. Maria's doing, and from this scene, he comes to loving Hashem. Like it says, when Reuven was named, how do we see this? Remember, Reuven was named that Hashem saw me. And then what happened? She said, what did Leah say? What did his mother say? Hashem saw me. Now my husband will love me. So what do we see? That seeing leads to love. Think about it. If you're like Reuven, if you're someone like Menachem who's just like Reuven, that every time he walks down the street, he sees, wow, Hashem's running the world. Hashem's looking out for me. He sees Hashem in his life all the time. Automatically, he's going to be like, wow, Hashem loves me so much. He's looking out for me. I love Hashem. So seeing leads to loving. That's the idea of the first piece of Kriyashma. Like it says, you should love Hashem your God. What does it say in Kriyashma in the first part? It says you should love Hashem your God. The Kriyashma is all about loving Hashem. And being like Reuven is all about seeing Hashem in your life in order that you'll then love Hashem. So, Menachem, what do you have to do to love Hashem? What do you have to do to be like Reuven? Let's give it that one. What do you have to do to be like Reuven? Exactly. You have to see Hashem in your life, and then you'll love Hashem. Beautiful. So we figured out how to be like Reuven. Now we figured out how to be like Reuven. Any questions, guys? Okay. You guys ready for Shimon? Shimon. Let's find out what it means to be like Shimon. We figured out what it means to be like Reuven, yeah? You have to just see Hashem in your life, and as soon as you start seeing Hashem in your life, you're going to start loving Hashem. What does it mean to be like Shimon? What does it mean to be like Shimon? Remember, he was named after Leah saying, Hashem heard my voice. So he's all about hearing. Last one was all about seeing. Now it's all about hearing. What does it mean to be hearing? Who? Yeah, go for it.
So,
speaking to the mic.
We can make a mistake.
Okay, what's the question?
Reuven, right? So the reason why he is connected with the first parsha of Kriyashma is because he sees, and because he sees leads Abba.
And what did it say in Kriyashma?
Laughter.
Beautiful. You got it.
So
On the money.
So that's basically base.
That's the first piece of base. Now we're up to the second paragraph of base.
Oh, okay.
So we figured out Reuven. Now we're up to figuring out Shimon. Okay, who's ready to figure out Shimon? Who is Shimon? What is Shimon? How do we be like Shimon? How do we embody Shimon? How can we look up to Shimon and say, I'm going to be a Shimon guy today? I'm going to be like Shimon today. Let's find out. Shimon, what does it mean to be like Shimon? Because remember, he was named after Leah saying that Hashem heard my voice. So it's all about hearing. His avodah is what? What does it mean to be like him? That you have to be someone. That you're serving Hashem in a way, it's in a way of hearing. What's hearing? It's just understanding. Not seeing. Okay, let's talk about the difference between seeing and hearing for a second. Have you guys ever heard the phrase, a picture shows 1,000 words?
Yes.
What does that phrase mean? If someone's trying to explain something to you and you're hearing them, you have to figure out what they're saying. And firstly, it takes a lot longer, it takes a lot more effort, but also, you're never going to have the thing itself. You're only going to be figuring out around, based on what they're saying, you're trying to figure it out.
Yes.
As opposed to a picture, now you have the thing. You're like, it's clear. I know what it is. Exactly, a video. So I'll give you a very practical example. Imagine someone shows you a picture of 770 by the Rebbe. The Rebbe is standing there saying a sikha. You see a picture, all the Chassidim are leaning in, they're interested, they're captivated, and you're like, you get it. As soon as you see the picture, you can gauge the mood in the room. You could see how everyone was so interested in listening.
Then you imagine around this.
Now let's give you a different idea. Let me give you a different scenario. What happens if you don't have a picture? Because let's say someone's trying to describe to you what the Rebbe's Sikha looked like on Shabbos, and obviously there's no pictures. So now the guy's going to sit there. He's going to tell you for 10 minutes where the Rebbe sat, and where the Chassidim were standing, and what they looked like, and how they were acting. And then based on everything he's saying, you have to figure out, you have to decipher what it looks like. That's the difference between seeing and hearing. Seeing, you have it. It's clear. It's obvious. Hearing, you're figuring it out. You're already a step on the back foot. So it's a bit strange. So far it sounds like seeing is so much better than hearing. So why are we encouraging people to be like Shimon and relate to Hashem in a way like hearing, which means just figuring it out, which means like on the back foot? We're going to find out. Why? Mekeva, then sin sha'oz that then. Because the guy's still far away from Hashem. Just like someone, Hashemeya, who hears, Eza Dover, something, that we're telling him. So you're telling some guy some story, but he never saw it. So then he's very far away from it. When you're hearing all about the Rebbe Shebrengen, but you weren't there, you don't exactly know what it was. You're still far away from the concept. You're far away from the mental imagery, but you're trying to get closer. You're trying to figure it out. Therefore, by him, the avoid is in the way of fear. Oh, this is very interesting. So when you're close to something, it brings about love. When you're far from something, it brings about fear. Let me give you a mashal. Imagine there's a great and powerful, mighty, majestic king. Now, there's two different people looking at the king. One is the king's son. How's he going to feel? Love. He's so excited. He's close to the king. So when he sees the king, he's like, yay, Tati's home. Comes, runs over and gives him a big hug. The other guy is a regular soldier in the army. Regular guy.
Trains for 10 years.
He's never seen the king before in his life, and he's never going to see the king before in his life. Never going to see the king again in his life. And this is the one time in his life he sees the king. He's so far, so removed from the king. He's like, whoa, he's overawed. He's like, my goodness, your majesty, is there anything I can get you? Salute, yes, sir. So that's the difference between close and far. When you're close to something, when you're relating to something in the way of seeing, that you have the idea, it causes a feeling of love. As opposed to when you're relating to something in the way of hearing, that you're far away from it, then you relate to it in the way of fear.
Does that mean that Ava is better than Yira?
Good question. Your question is Ava better than Yira? The answer is that they're two different modes of serving Hashem. They're two different feelings, which are both necessary. Which is why we're telling you that you have to be like Reuven and be like Shimon. That's a fantastic question, Chaim. So, what does it mean to be like Reuven? That you're so clear about Hashem, that you see Hashem in your life, and then you love Hashem. What does it mean to be like Shimon? That you think about Hashem in a way that's above you, that's further than you. Seeing Hashem in your life is something you can be clear on. Like, wow, unbelievable. Hashgacha Pratis story happened today. Shmiya is you're thinking about Hashem, even in an abstract way, even in a way that's far away from you. Even you realize that Hashem's so above and beyond you, then you can sit back and be like, wow, I'm so overawed about Hashem. I have yira of Hashem. You guys ever seen a video of like a zooming out from your street and from your state and from your country and from the world and from the galaxy? And you're like, wow, I'm a really small part of something bigger. But then you realize the whole galaxy and the whole universe is incomparably small. It's non-existent in comparison to Hashem. You're like, wow, unbelievable. Hashem is everything. And, well, now, because I'm connected to Hashem, I'm also everything. But if I'm not connected to Hashem, I'm a nothing person. You have to come to a realization that, wow, Hashem is unbelievable. Hashem made everything. Hashem's causing everything. Hashem's doing everything. You come to a feeling of fear. It's like fear of heights. You ever gone to the mall on the third floor and you're like looking down? Yeah. And it's like, whoa, it's fear of heights. When you see Hashem is so great, it's so big. Obviously you're not scared that Hashem's going to hurt you, Chas v'sholom. That would be for a silly person. Hashem doesn't want to hurt you. He made you for a reason. Hashem loves every person. It's saying being overawed. That's the idea of yira. It's like, whoa. It's like, whoa. It's like when you're standing on a mountaintop. When you get to the top of the camp trip, you get to the top of the mountain, you look over at the valley. You're not scared that the valley is going to come and hit you. But you're like, whoa, that's incredible. So, what does this cause? It causes yira. You guys remember what part of davening Shimon represents? Exactly. That's the idea of the second parasha, the second piece, the Kriya Shema, that that says if you will listen. Remember, listening is whose avodah? It's Shimon's avodah. So if you listen, then now, and what does that cause? It starts speaking about all the negative, all the things about fear. You should guard yourself closely, lest your heart go astray. And how do you guard yourself? If you want to get closer to Hashem, you have to start feeling love to Him. If you want to guard yourself from going astray, you have to feel a bit of fear. You have to be like, okay, I really don't want to do that because Hashem is so great. I don't want to be disconnected from that. So, we see that the second part of Kriya Shema speaks about hearing, and hearing leads to fearing. Kind of rhymes, no? Hearing leads to fearing? No, it's not a great rhyme. We have to think up a better line. That can be your guys' job. So, the Mekeva that seems that the idea of godliness by him who rak is only shmir, it's only a way of hearing. If you listen diligently, like it says in Kriya Shema, if you listen diligently, his service of Hashem has to be in a way of fearing, like it says further. Guard yourself. So what do we find out? That being like Shimon means what? Someone describe to me. What's being like Shimon? Listening, which leads to?
Yeah.
Great job. So your realization of Hashem is in a way like listening. It doesn't mean you're listening. It means it's like listening that you're figuring it out. You're working your way around it. You're trying to understand something that's above your grasp. And then when you realize Hashem's above and beyond your grasp, you feel overawed. So now we figured out being like Reuven, you're seeing Hashem in your life, and therefore you're going to love Him. Being like Shimon means understanding about Hashem, and in a way of listening, that He's above and beyond you, that the concept's out of reach, and that leads to awe, fear. Now that you love Hashem, and you want to do everything right, and that you fear Hashem, and you don't want to do anything that's wrong, what's left? What's left for Levi? What's left for Levi? I thought we covered all our bases. So you ready for this? Levi's an interesting one. Bechinas Levi, and what is the level of Levi? What does it mean to be like Levi? Al Shem Yelavi Ishi Elai. So let's backtrack to when Levi was born. What was he named? His mother said, now my husband will escort me. You know why? Very simple reason. Simple reason is because she had Reuven. She was holding little Reuven with one hand. And in the other hand, she's holding little Shimon. Now she had a third baby. She's like, okay, my husband's going to have to help me out. He's going to be spending a lot of time with me because I can't hold three babies at the same time. So she said, now my husband will escort me. So what does that mean by us? In Torah in general, you see in Shir Hashirim, you see it in that's really the only way to translate the meaning of the words. But in a deeper sense, all over the Torah, Hashem is referred to as the husband and the Jewish people as the wife. So how are we going to have Hashem escort us? Hashem be together with us at all times. That's what happens after Kriya Shema. When we say Emes v'yatziv kulu, what do we say over there? So this would be including Vayomer. That's a good question. This would be including Vayomer, like the Emes part. Hadover Zeoleinu, this thing is upon us. We say it's true. We say 15 expressions of truth. That simply speaking, you know why we say Emes v'yatziv? Where the words come from? The words come from a letter, a very interesting letter written maybe 2,500 years ago, maybe 3,000 years ago, actually. That there was a letter that the Beis Din, the Sanhedrin, wrote to David HaMelech. David HaMelech made a big decree because there was a plague going on, and he said, we're going to save the Yidden from the plague by making a new rule. Everyone's saying 100 brachos every day. You guys know the halacha, say 100 brachos every day? Do you know David HaMelech made that? So when he made that rule, Sanhedrin found out about it, and they're like, that's an amazing idea. And they sent a letter to David HaMelech, Emes v'yatziv v'nochen v'kayim v'yosher. They wrote 15 different expressions of how true and good and fantastic and upheld this thing is. 15 different expressions about how good this is.
And then when he got the letter, he's like thinking, like, how did I not think of this until?
Yeah, you think David HaMelech's the guy who composed most of Tehillim. You think he would have written it, yeah? But that letter they put into davening. Why? That part of davening, in the context of davening, is not talking about that how good it is to say 100 brachos a day. In the concept, in a part of davening, it's coming right after Kriya Shema. And it's saying, this that we took upon us in Kriya Shema, that is true and good and upheld. The Rebbe is going to say, Hadavar Zeleno, this thing upon us, which they originally wrote, this thing is so true, is the 100 brachos a day. What does that refer to in davening? Hadavar Zeleno, this thing upon us, what's that? Hadavar Zel, this thing, Koyal Torah, talking about the Torah. This that we took upon us, upon ourselves, to follow the Torah in Kriya Shema, that's good and true and upheld. Why do you need Torah all of a sudden? After you have love for Hashem and fear for Hashem, now you're ready to go out to your day and start doing mitzvahs. Why is it so vital now to get some Torah into you? Ki al yidei Torah, through Torah nasi love ishi like. Come on, Through Torah, it makes your husband escort you. It makes Hashem escort you. It makes Hashem be part of your life, like we're going to explain
It's
later.
super.
So we didn't really explain yet
So is it like-
why you need Torah, but to give you guys a sneak peek, because it's going to be explained later in the Maamer, imagine you have this guy who finished davening, and he has love for Hashem, and he has fear of Hashem, and then he goes out into his day, and he starts getting involved in his business. Maybe his love will turn into love for money. Maybe his fear will be fear of his boss. Who knows? His feelings for Hashem could go away. That's the problem with feelings, no? Feelings come, feelings go. Today I feel all inspired to learn this Maamer. Tomorrow I might feel more inspired to sleep in. But when you learn Torah, you can not something in your mind, and you can take that inspiration and channel it into your learning to the point that your learning is now going to be part of you and something instilled in you in the long term. We're going to explain all about that later in the Maamer. You guys have any questions?